Recovery Ecosystem Podcast is an initiative of Detroit Recovery Project, Incorporated. Our mission is to support sustained recovery, health, and wellness.
Welcome to the Recovery Ecosystem Podcast. I'm so thrilled to have the dynamic Mr. Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson, for you all don't know, is a trained master social worker, and he's one of the most phenomenal national trainers that's birthed out of Detroit that has really shared and created a number of documentaries and videos across America and worked in numerous he has worked in numerous federal and state prisons throughout the country. He's a known expert in the areas of substance abuse recovery and reentry and returning citizen type work. Michael, I'm so excited to have you here today. Welcome to the Recovery Ecosystem Podcast.
Okay, thank you.
And so before we dive into our discussion here today, I want to take a moment and read something that came across my social media earlier today, which I thought was in alignment with what we're doing. Recovery isn't just about quitting something. It's about rebuilding trust with yourself again, keeping promises to yourself, choosing peace over impulse, learning you can make it through hard moments without destroying your progress. That's real healing. And so we're gonna unplug that and unpack that, and we're gonna dig a little deeper. And I also want to take a moment and just say again, my name is Andre Johnson. I'm the president and chief executive officer of the Detroit Recovery Project nonprofit organization here in Detroit. And I'm also the author of the Recovery Ecosystem book, which was a book that was significantly inspired by yours truly, Michael Johnson. When I was in the midst of writing it, you and I would converse quite a bit about areas of importance when we're talking about writing and developing presentations that can help our field overall, but also help individuals who are seeking and looking to sustain long-term recovery. We know they need a lot of help. And so for me, it's just making sure that we have an ecosystem. Like my man over there, Brandon, our videographer, he's part of the ecosystem show as well. He's been doing a number of videos for us thus far. So I'm honored. And thank you, Brandon, for continuing to show up for our team and show up for our community. Because that's what we're all about today, showing up for each other and showing up for our community so that we can all heal collectively together. So what's up, Mike? What's coming to your mind?
Man, I'm just ready for you to start this. So I can see which way we go. What I'm liking so far is that it's spontaneous.
Sure.
You know, it's not like we going from a script. So with that being said, this will be an easier conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be easy.
So I was thinking about a conversation we had in my office while we were social distancing in the midst of the pandemic. Right. And I think some of the initial conversation we were talking about complex PTSD.
Right.
And how we saw that coming up for a lot of people in the midst of the pandemic. Do you recall that?
Let me see where I go.
Okay.
Okay, it's when I'm looking at complex PTSD, I'm looking at a person who has multiple traumas, not just one. All right? And so they may have incest, rape, domestic violence, addicted parents. They may also have experienced a military history. You know, so this person is walking around with multiple traumas at the same time. Okay? So they may come to see me, I'm going to use me, and they present with, so they say, an addiction. I'm an alcoholic or I'm a drug addict. Or I just got out of prison. Right. So over the years, Ray, what I've done is that I've evolved to whereas I know the person is going to be presenting to me two things. One will be their problem solving skills for what they're working with at that time. And they are presenting themselves according to their problem solving skill. The alcohol use and the drug use, even the criminal activity, sexual behavior is a problem solving skill. Okay? That becomes an addiction over time, preoccupation, obsession. Okay, and there's rewards in it. All right, okay, to take away for a moment my depression, my anxiety, my feelings of loneliness, things like that. But the more they use that or continue to use that specific problem solving skill, then it becomes an addiction. Yes. And that's what they identify themselves with. Many people are coming to our offices identifying themselves to their diagnosis. You know, I'm an alcoholic, I'm a drug addict, I have mental health concerns, I'm dealing with depression, anxiety. True. You have identified yourself with your diagnosis. So I have to sit and listen patiently and try to figure out what was the road that led to the diagnosis in the first place, and how has the person's true self been hidden or buried underneath their circumstances or that diagnosis, right? So we talk about recovery, but then we should add the word discovery, and then we should add another word, uncovering.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Then I will truly discover who this person is in front of me, and I develop replacement skills. Okay, like I'm saying, the deviant activity, the alcohol, drugs, sexual activity, gambling, all of it is the problem-solving skill. I have to sense how is that used and for what, and to create new problem-solving skills.
And that's where the ecosystem comes in.
That. Yeah.
Is where we look at. So when you talk about those problem solving skills, the ecosystem, we're looking at what we refer to as healthy problem solving skills. Because in some cases, individuals have become so prone to practicing unhealthy, quote unquote, problem solving skills where, like you say, sex, gambling, shopping, food, etc. When you acting out in those areas, that solves that feeling of maybe it may give you an ease from some depression for a moment, ease from anxiety for a moment, versus having the new coping tools to help you to not only sustain your recovery, but also to address some of these underlying issues like you talked about earlier. We know trauma is a big thing in the community where individuals have struggled with substance use disorder. We know that grief and loss is a big thing. And in some communities, young men and women have been taught not to express themselves.
Okay. I feel that there is in persons like that, there's who cares attitude. You know, like recovery will give you a give a damn team.
Unpack that.
It's we care about you. We love you. We support you. We're not gonna leave you by yourself. That's your new team. That's your recovery team. Okay. And just like you had a group that reinforced your dysfunctional behavior, your illness activities, now you got to recreate a group that coincides with this recovery process. Okay? People who care, people who can hear me when I say nothing. They can just look at me and know, you know, because there's a lot of analysis that takes place with recovered persons. Like a recovering person can hear somebody say something like, I'm sick of this, I'm tired of this. Oh, every time I go home, blah, 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 blah. Me and my wife don't get along. Even though I'm drug-free and working, I still don't let friendships go anywhere, all right?
Loneliness is still...
It's still there. Because that's part of what we need to uncover is how much of your old coping skills and strategies, attitudes, beliefs have you brought in to this drug-free state. A lot of people think that once I discontinue my alcohol and drug use, I'm in recovery. No, we just moving that out of the way to see what you're really recovering from, and we're trying to create ecosystem, a new operations manual for you. You have an operations manual that will keep you sick, keep you in dysfunctional relationships, keep you homeless, keep you broke, keep you incarcerated. All right? You are a success in failure. You successful. And a lot of times, some of the guys, when they come home from prison, or some of the mothers, when they leave the street, all right? A toxic mother and a drug-free mother are two different mothers. All right?
Yeah.
That the toxic mother may be using the chemical, the alcohol, as a coping skill for being in this home with these children who need me and making all this noise.
Right.
They want to eat, they want to play, they want to do all kind of stuff, right? I am an alcoholic drug addict. Just for example, I was a better kid, a better female, right? I come from an abusive home. I don't know love, patience. So it scares me. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So when the women or even the men come into a home and there's love in the atmosphere, I don't know how to respond to love.
Woo! Can we take a quick pause? Did you say that one more time?
Don't know how to respond to love. Now, before your quick pause, okay? It's recovery, all of it. Every bit of recovery, true recovery, is nothing but the application of love.
You mentioned Operation Manual a minute ago, and how that is would often drive. That's how people move. That's what drive and influence their behavior. And for me, it's a lot like as I was developing the ecosystem, it was really looking at how individuals' behavior has been influenced. And we know that behavior has been influenced and shaped by some childhood experiences, some traumatic experiences, perhaps, or perhaps some other what we call co-occurring disorders. For example, we know that mental illness is prevalent in a lot of, particularly Black communities, and in some cases, misdiagnosed, underdiagnosed, or not diagnosed. And so, you and I have had this conversation around the new fellowship of people in recovery and how we're seeing a lot of co-occurring disorders, and a lot of people are recovering from drug and alcohol, but the mental illness has not been treated.
Okay.
And so I'm just wondering, how would you say that fits into the operational manual, and it also fits into, you used a very powerful 5-letter word before we took our break, which was love, LOVE.
Yeah. As a counselor, therapist, recovery coach, in recovery, it took me a while to understand that only thing I was doing was identifying and reinforcing illness
Reinforcing illness in recovery.
Right. And I took it there. Go ahead.
How did you discover that?
Because even though I was alcohol and drug free, and many of my alcohol and drug free peers were also, right? We were still engaging in, and we still possessed, we were engaging in toxic activities. And we continue to have toxic problem solving skills, toxic pursuits, toxic.
And so, in the book, in the Recovery Ecosystem book, I talk about how people in recovery have this high propensity to exhibit and practice risque behavior.
Yes.
And so it kind of aligns with what you're saying is like, okay, you've given up the drugs and alcohol, but you're still practicing high risk behaviors. Is this something that comes with that? Like, what is the internal satisfaction with having that drive to continue to practice risky behaviors? Escape from what?
Self.
Uh,
Just sit at home by myself. Life. Oh man, I did some wild thing. One day I was sitting at home, relaxed, peaceful. Nothing was wrong. Nothing. All right. And it occurred to me, I was peaceful. I didn't know how to deal with being peaceful. I didn't know how to do it. Being peaceful brought about anxiety. All right. I jumped up, Andre, showered, counted my money to see how much money I could screw up. I put an outfit on, and I was looking in the mirror, and then the recovery me triggered and asked me, where are you going? What are you getting ready to do? I was getting ready to go create some dysfunction. Right. I was getting ready to blow my money. And then I was getting ready to come home after that and punish myself.
Wow.
And tell myself, you were dang fair, you should have stayed at home.
Right.
I don't know why you did that.
Wow.
Then go to bed miserable. That's my toxic normal. So now recovery, I have to learn how to be comfortable with self, with peace, with serenity. Serenity in the beginning brought about anxiety. I don't have the skills for serenity.
So I'm wondering, like, can you have serenity? And what does serenity look like?
For me?
Yeah.
Man. How I was sitting here right now? Comfortable me, why?
So kind of like at a peaceful state.
Yeah, peaceful state. But I had to find places that brought this serenity. A park. Yeah. Shooting pool. One of the things I'll say right now is that I tell people that medicine is not always a drug. All right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of your medicine is internal. All right? Cutting grass.
Therapeutic.
Going for a walk, riding your bicycle.
Therapeutic.
Yeah. Learning and acquiring skills and techniques for peace, tranquility, and serenity. Replacements, because I had the skills for chaos, confusion, and dysfunction. But that's what I brought in here. So it's like in your ecosystem, and with the people who learn this, they'll have to know and understand and accept you don't really know health yourself. You know illness. You practicing illness recovery and illness therapy Okay, so when you get into the ecosystem, this book you wrote,
Yeah.
not only is the person going to have to develop some new skills and attitude, so too will the therapist or the recovery. I can no longer see you as black, uh, recently released from the prison, criminal. I can't see you like that, okay? Because what those are simply the consequences of your not knowing. And those are the consequences of using the skills and developing beliefs and values that surround your victimization.
Mm. Yeah.
So now I'm going to take you recovery from a victim state to a being accountable, responsible, realizing that you still have memory about certain things that happened in your life. And the thing is that with those memories is going to bring back the coping skills again, the anger, the depressions, the isolation, to go spend some money, stuff like that. In the beginning of your recovery, this memory may take you away, right, for what? A day, couple of weeks, couple of months, maybe a couple of years.
Right.
But as I continue to work on myself with the recovery, let's be happy, accepting principles, I'll then begin to see that degree of my illness and operation.
Got it.
And I'll learn how to confront myself. You follow? And that makes me more responsible, independent, mature.
Yeah.
Things like that, right? When you teach me the skills to monitor myself, self-evaluate, and develop my own quote unquote healthy treatment plan, recovery plan, whatever, then I can see this sign really works. Recovery is not a conversation piece, because we read books, we quote books. But then the other thing I share with people, Dre, is that you are a book. The person in front of me.
Right.
You are a book that has never been written. And if it's never been written, then it's never been read. You follow? But each person,
You say if it's never been written,
it's never been read.
it's never been raised.
So it's never been understood. So it's never been questioned.
Never been questioned.
You see what I mean?
Yes.
So then it's like, as I'm writing my book in the 12-step community, they call it an inventory. So I do a check-in with you about a discovery I made about me. And you help me understand, bring more insight and clarity, right, to what I wrote and how I perceive it.
You want to talk about that a little bit more? Let's go a little bit more deep.
Is that in this self-evaluation, oftentimes people, keep in mind what I said about being healthy, about being responsible. Many of us think that we have to write volumes of how sick and twisted. But I'm seeing a therapist.
Okay.
I'm using support systems. No matter what your support system is designed to bring health to you. Okay. But you continue to identify yourself with your illness and the behavior that supports
The deficits. We put too much energy on the deficits.
Definitely.
So you taught me something about energy years ago.
Go ahead.
You probably don't remember this, but we would hook up on the weekends and walk down Royal Oak and go to the album store. And you taught me about Miles Davis' album. I was going through a transformation and listening to new music,
Right.
and I wanted to appreciate that genre of music that was in your era, right? And what I've learned is it helped me to change my frequency.
There you go.
Because, like, I can only listen to so much rap music. I can't listen to rap music and write and read and be peaceful. I'm like this when I'm listening to rap. But when I'm yeah, I got to go to the side. But when I'm listening to Miles Davis, there's something magical about that music and the frequency. It helps to like relax me, and I'm a little chill.
Okay, here's something that I just realized. Many of us are having a relationship with the external.
External world.
External. TV, material things like that. And we neglect and ignore the internal.
Yes.
Right? Where peace and harmony and comfort are. Right? Going back again to that belief, I'm not supposed to be like. I'm supposed to crave. The preoccupation, obsession, the addictive mentality cycle is still there. And I'm still detoxing even after 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years. Everybody in recovery has an area of toxicity. I don't care how long you've been in recovery. All right? But if you're using these new principles, no matter what support group you're using, there's a principle in there that tells you how to manage it, curtail it, make a U-turn. You follow?
Sure.
And so in my recovery group, it says work these principles on my back. Sometimes I'm not. And that's me being accountable in my own recovery.
Okay.
You follow? It's Mike has identified an area in his own personal recovery where he is not working these spiritual recovery enlightenment principles. Now whose fault is that?
Mike, before we took a break, we were diving in the space around internal and external variables that often influence one's behavior. And I like when you talked about not only the internal aspect of things, but also and I don't know if people realize that people who are in recovery have a higher propensity to practice risque behaviors, even sober and clean. And so for me, when you talk about that aspect of the recovering person, but also the aspect of how do we switch gears perhaps and go and focus more on the internal aspect of who we are and what influence who we are.
You'll have to find someone that is not afraid of that aspect of themselves, and someone who respects that is a very important, significant part of the recovery process. There's a lot of us who have a peculiar emotion. I don't know what it is.
Peculiar emotion.
It's peculiar to you in that you may be able to deal with your anger. You may be able to deal with being alone. When it comes to grief, you fall apart. You follow?
Okay.
And so that's your recovery soft spot, right? A grieving mother who lost her children either in addiction or in recovery should never see her children progress, right? Grow, bring her grandchildren, things like that, right? So she has an ongoing grieving process. And sometimes it's okay today. You follow. Some days it's not.
Okay.
You see, so it's like we all need to know and understand, and prayerfully it will be revealed to us what your recovery weak spot is. It might be family. It may be grief. A lot of my guys that come home from prison, they went to prison young and had children, stayed in prison a long time to where it's 15, 20 years in prison and you come home. I'm still your father, but I missed your childhood. I had no input in it whatsoever, so I never saw you ride a bicycle, right? I don't have a picture. There's a picture that a lot of I think a lot of fathers really like this picture. This is a picture where you have your son or daughter on your shoulder.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a hell of a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a hell of a thing.
That's one of my proud pictures.
Right.
And you know, thinking about it, Michael, you made me think about some of the other people I've worked with over the years that has spent 18, 20 years of incarceration, both men and women, and how they come out of incarceration wanting to ignite, reunite a relationship with their children.
Yeah.
But so much time has been lost.
Yeah.
And so in some cases, you got the parents that come out overcompensating, the child playing the blame game, or the young adult playing the blame game. How do people navigate through those kind of dynamics?
Okay, there's a naivete.
The who?
Naivete.
Naive.
Yep, naive. Concerning recovery. A lot of people in recovery assume that once I engage and commit in the recovery process, everything is going to pop back up. People are going to love me. They're going to invite me by for Thanksgiving dinner and remember my birthday and things like that. Now, we don't know you as a recovered person. We know you as a person that brought a lot of harm to our family. You abandoned us. You disrespected us. And we have not had the opportunity to process that yet with you.
So in that case, we need family therapy, family support, family healing. Do you think we do enough in this space to really address?
No.
Why do you say that?
No, because we don't. Okay, and that now you speak in economics. Now you speak in economics. Who's gonna pay for it? Okay, who has identified me as having the problem? Okay, now I'm the guy on your caseload, so I found out through my probation officer, my job, or what have you. That was my motivation for coming into treatment. If I didn't do this, I would lose something. Right? My family, they've already lost something. And my family was supportive of me in the initial phases of my dysfunctional behavior. But I used them. A lot of times our family are the first victims of a person's addictive behavior. Like, who do you rob first? You take money out your mother's purse. You steal your father's car. You see what I mean? And they forgive you. Then you come back and do it again because you have not had a consequence yet. Okay, now you have a consequence, and you go through treatment, you're released from prison, what have you, and you thinking all this forgiveness because you dealt with this either while you were incarcerated or in treatment. But while you were incarcerated, they were saying things like, he can't come back here. She can't come back here. Don't even think about asking me for no money. I've helped them too many times. You see what I mean? So, in working with family and loved ones, the recovering person has to understand that that person has been wounded by your behavior.
Okay.
Even though your behavior was toxic as a result of your addiction. They've been wounded. Okay. Now, you in recovery are in a healing process. They are not. They are still in an angry victim process.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So until somebody or something can bring the family together in a healing dynamic to discuss it openly. You have to say some hurtful things to me. I'll have to say some hurtful things to you, but these are all on the road to us getting better and healing as a family.
Yeah, and I like that you said that, because I've noticed even when I was doing my clinical training, I spent a lot of time in the Los Angeles area, and I primarily treated families,
Yeah.
and it was predominantly Hispanic, Latino community at the time, and I thought to myself, wow, I've spent most of my time treating individuals,
Yeah.
and excluding the families, and not really talking about the intergenerational family trauma, not talking about the intergenerational family gene, right? Alcohol gene that we've seen great grandfathers struggle with, granddad struggle with, uncles struggle with, and sometimes we missed some of those um, um, connections, but we also miss the opportunity for families to heal. I know me personally, when I entered recovery at an early age of 18 years old, by the time I was about 20, my best friend had become my mother. That estranged mother-son relationship caused me a lot of grief, pain, and hurt, which I obviously caused her behind my actions as a teenager.
Right.
But when I started this new journey and this new path, all that negativity, the most, to be the most unsuccessful until I walked across the stage at Morehouse College, and my mother was sitting there giving me unlimited applause and bragging and happy about her son, right? So, but that was a process that we were able to kind of build and work through. Do you think we do enough as professionals and therapists and counselors and systems around engaging families?
No.
What do you think? How can we push that?
Oh. You may have to use other resources outside of yourself. Meaning that a lot of us counselors and therapists, I think we try to do too much alone.
Okay.
All right. That's not my specialty. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Like you said, I work with individuals, so that's my forte, working with individuals. But then when the family comes in, I'm kind of lost and confused. So I would have to have a humble moment.
Okay.
And understand that I need help.
Okay.
I'm a therapist.
Yeah.
I need an assistant. I need somebody to co-facilitate,
Yeah.
to assist me with this person and their family in front of me. And I think sometimes too, an error which it affects the person is that sometimes I feel that the counselor, the therapist, the recovery coach, the doctor is working with something that outside of their specialty, but won't admit it. I've had moments in the office where, shit, I don't know what the hell to do. You follow? And I would keep it to myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because based on all this stuff I got on the wall, and these plaques and degrees and speaking engagements, I'm supposed to be a professional, the professional who knows all.
Yeah, and that's really good, Michael, that you pointed out the fact that the system itself has not been. We come from an individualistic system versus a collectivism system, because so there's this individuality versus looking at individuals as a byproduct of a family unit.
Okay.
Because we all were byproducts of a family unit, and I think sometimes that's our, when people find recovery friends, it's because they've been estranged from their families, they've been alienated from their families, and sometimes the families can be quite toxic itself.
Right.
And so, you talked about toxicity earlier today and how important it is to begin to kind of free ourselves from those toxic relationships, be it family, friends, or what have you, because what has happened is we've had those relationships where now we have our own internal toxic relationship with ourselves.
True.
And so we got to free ourselves of that. I know we're coming up on the time. We're going to have a part 2 of this show,
Okay.
Michael.
Okay.
But I want you to just tell me, what were your final thoughts about the Recovery Ecosystem book?
Man, let me tell you something. That book he wrote is a true paradigm shift. And for me, it rewrites what we do as counselors.
Okay.
What we do as recovery persons. It opened the door to address more issues, situations relative to personal recovery. But then it showed the other systems that need to be included, right? And I think what also happened, man, because I attended a workshop.
The training, yeah, the
Training, that was your book, right?
workbook, yeah.
And that book made everybody in that room challenge their personal recovery, challenge their understanding of recovery, and challenge themselves as to what role do you play in the person's recovery. It helped with boundaries in that, excuse me, dear therapist, but based on your history and what's going on with you in your recovery, this person has presented an issue to you that you dared not broach because you're not healthy enough nor competent enough to deal with this person's issues. You see what I mean? So it changed supervision.
Sure.
To whereas the supervisors also should understand and realize what's going on with the therapist, the counselor, the recovery coach when they sit in that room with that person. You follow?
Yes.
And I brought us up something to where, we talk about all these support groups and support systems for the family and for the person. You've had one for recovery people, for professionals, to where, we talk about burnout, we talk about self-care. You have professionals who slowly develop mental health concerns from doing the work, right? That counter-transference. You have recovering persons who are doing this work, and some of them relapse.
Vicarious trauma is something I've seen happen.
Yeah. So it's like this book opened it up here. It really opened it up as to like what's going on in recovery. What role do I play in recovery? Extended. I mean, it really extended the recovery borders and boundaries.
Thank you. And I really appreciate your feedback and your support. As I began writing the book, I was having a lot of existential moments in my life.
Yeah.
In terms of reflecting on some of the personal experiences I've had on this over 3 decades of experience, not only as a recovering person, but as a
Right.
professional and as a trained psychologist. And the thing that came up quite a bit was the grief, the loss, the trauma that had often gone unrecognized, or in some cases hadn't taken a deeper look at it. And so now today, writing and learning from my colleagues and friends and other people in recovery, that I really value people's experiences. And I've been able to really focus more on some of the internal variables that influence our behavior. I was thinking about when you use the word self-care and burnout, how I think in the last 10 years, that's been something we've integrated in our conversation. You know, you've talked about stretching and doing yoga and
Yeah.
going for walks. And I think historically we haven't always kept our physical aspect of who we are at the forefront of who we are, how we develop, and how we progress in this life. And so for me, the physical health was an important topic that was written inside of the Recovery Ecosystem book. Healthy friendships was another vital aspect of the Recovery Ecosystem book, is having healthy friendships, people who can support us, people who can love us, people who can encourage us during some of the toughest times in life.
Yeah.
And some of the toughest times in life are often some of the emotional times, you know, when you're having that emotional sadness or stress or perhaps loneliness, etc. So we're going to pick back up part 2. This is the Recovery Ecosystem podcast show, and we're featuring our infamous Michael Johnson. And so we'll be happy to have you back for a part 2. Thanks a lot for everything, Michael.
Thank
Recovery Ecosystem Podcast is produced by Detroit Recovery Project, Incorporated. If you or someone you know needs support for substance use or mental health, call 313-365-3100 or visit recoveryfordetroit.com. You are not alone.